Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 2019. My name is Kyle Smith, and I'm joined by the handsome and single Adam Carlson. How you doing, sir?
Hey, you don't know if any of that is true.
I know the first part's true because I'm looking at you right now.
Under all this hair, you can even tell? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm in full Vikings form here I got the longer hair kicking. This beard's getting out of hand. I know that No Shave November is well over with, so it might be time to take care of a lot of this scruff here.
You know, I don't want to make it unprofessional and weird, but I didn't know that large bearded men were my type. But I am a Chris Stapleton fan, so you fit that. You fit that very, very good. So we might have to figure that out. But welcome to the show, everyone. When everybody gets rolling in here, we'll get started up with some comments and get you guys into the show. But this is episode number 374 called Cry Me a Rivers. I wanted to do something cool with snub, and I couldn't think of anything. I'm sure you could probably think of something right off the top of your head. But we're going to talk about the Chargers win, the dominating game. We're going to talk about Pro Bowl snubs, and we're going to preview this potential NFC North title match Monday against the Packers.
Yeah, a lot going on, and we've got chat popping. Everybody shows up at once.
Bob Wells, what's going on? I'm going to get you guys in here and show all these comments. This is so cool. See, we're trying out new things every week. I like the little scrolling news feed thing. How you doing, Bob? Glad you joined us. Shay Rizzo, let's win the border battle. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's going to be such a good game. I think it's the game of the weekend out of any game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sergio, what's up, man? I don't know if you made it last week, but skull to you as well. Fire Breather's back. Dan Bailey made 4 field goals. Yeah, that was crazy. In that
NFC game. Special Teams Player of the Week.
Yeah, he is. All right. Skull from Iowa, too. That's cool. I'm coming at you from New York on Long Island.
Say hello to all that corn for me.
That's a good. Let's start the show with that. What's your favorite kind of corn? I like a good cream corn. That's my favorite.
Oh, don't even go with cream corn. That's ridiculous. You're being ridiculous now. Nobody chooses cream corn over cornbread.
I like corn on the cob. That's a close second. There's just something cool about being a caveman and just hands on.
If this were ESPN, I'd have muted you by now.
Ooh, wow. I got the mute early. I'm so happy now. That means I've done my job for the day.
Creamed corn. Get out of here.
I love a good Mexican street corn, too. Man, that's good. El Paso ruined me for that. There was a lot of good ones there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go to the Vikings. Let's talk about this dominating performance from last week. So they beat the Chargers 39-10. I am not going to lie to you. I was worried about this game. If you saw earlier in the year what they did to the Packers in L.A., it was brutal. And they had turned it on the week before. I think they beat the crap out of the Jaguars by like 30 points, something like that.
The thing about the Chargers is that they aren't a bad team. They have a lot of talent, but they are such an up and down team. You can see them come in and they can play with the best of them. Then other times they shoot themselves in the foot so bad. The way this game started, the Chargers looked like they were going to play a conservative game, that they were going to take smart shots. They were going to pick on Mike Hughes, work their way down the field. And yeah, I'll be honest, this looked like it was going to be a very competitive game.
Fire Breather's already giving it out here, so we'll give Game Balls and Dawkins in just a second. Yeah, this is my brother's favorite team. Me and my brother are super close. He loves Phillip Rivers. If you guys know, we're from North Carolina, so there's ties there. He's a likable guy, but they've lost all of their games, minus this one, I think, by 7 points or less this season. So they were a playoff team. They won a playoff game last year. If you remember, they beat Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, and then they got beaten up by New England the next week. But what a difference the season makes, you know. What's going on, Rod? How you doing? This was a very interesting game. Kirk Cousins played really well. Mike Boone stepped in and played phenomenal in the absence of Alexander Madison. We saw Danielle Hunter just go off. Afade Odenigbo made the play of the game.
Before we give away our game balls and donkeys, though, we got to give away just an honorary game ball to those Minnesota Vikings fans over there that showed up in, what is it, Carson, California? That's where they played?
I think so.
Yeah, that stadium was loud and not for the team that the stadium is going to be for. There was a lot of purple and gold in that stadium, and I'm a little concerned even more about how some of these relocations will completely work. Will Los Angeles, will they take in and fully accept the Chargers? Will Las Vegas, will they accept the Raiders? These teams, I don't know if either of them are going to have any kind of home field advantage there. And as we've seen, the Minnesota Vikings, the only team in the NFL this year not to lose a game at home yet, that's big.
That is big. That shows you how good the fans are. It shows you, I mean, we got 2 games left too, man. If the season goes the way we all want it to, this could be a 12-14. It's one less win than a couple seasons ago. We made it to the NFC Championship game. So there's a lot riding on 2 weeks of football coming up. And I don't know. I'm really excited. I hate that we have to wait till Monday, but I'm glad that these last 2 games are at home. Even though it's prime time and Monday night is not Kirk Cousins' friend, I think this will be a little bit different than the week 2 showdown, which seems like a lifetime ago when we played the Packers last.
This is going to be a fun weekend, though, because we get Saturday, which is a night full of NFL football. We get to watch NFL football on Saturday, which is nice. And then we got Sunday. You can go out, you can hang out with your friends. You can do whatever you want to do. Sunday don't matter. You can watch games and just cheer for teams that aren't the Vikings. Then Monday night, you can take it nice and serious. You can sit down, watch Minnesota. And what's nice for me is that when it's a Monday night game, I can have all my articles. I set them for Tuesday. So I can actually watch the game, enjoy it, then go back and do my articles. This week on the Viking Age, I was driving back from Minneapolis when I was listening to the game on the radio. So I didn't get to catch a lot of what was going on because I didn't get to see it, but I did have Paul Allen telling me what was going on.
Yeah, that Afadi scoop and score when he gave him the he's loose, that was his classic Paul Allen. It was a lot of
I didn't
fun.
know if he was going to go there. He kind of rumbled along for it a little bit. It's like he was giving the play-by-play. I'm like, is he breaking through or what's the deal? And then I went back and watched the replay, and it was Danielle Hunter's block there that completely just if you want a guy leading a block for you, he's going to lay somebody out. You don't got to really worry about that.
I don't remember which podcast I listened to earlier this week. I think it was Locked On. I like that a lot because they do a daily show about the Vikings every single week and day. They have something new. And, it's shorter than what we would put out. But they asked Danielle Hunter, like, hey, there's some good blocking there. You ever thought about being a running back or a tight end? He's like, I'm going to leave that to the ball carriers and let me play defense. And I love that answer.
It's pretty crazy.
It would be to see somebody like Linval Joseph pulling a Dontari Poe and catching a touchdown. I think I'll leave them to their specialties,
Now, Danielle Hunter was a running back in high school, right?
I don't know. If you guys know, let us know in the comments. I can't say for sure either way.
I remember scouting him. I think I remember saying that, but either way, with his speed, it wouldn't be that hard to believe,
Oh, you were there. Real purple and gold, Minnesota. That's awesome. And
we keep asking you guys for some pictures because we actually can put up some pictures. We've got the technology. We've built this show better, stronger, faster. It's happened.
Yeah, we've done it. I think it was it the first Detroit game in Detroit? We showed somebody's picture there. They sent it. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry.
Clifford Tane.
Oh, that's right. What's going on, Michael?
See, I can't remember what time we're recording the podcast, but tell us about a person who sent in a picture a month ago.
We're here for all your useless information.
Oh, it's so stupid what's in my head.
Well, let's give out some game balls and donkeys, man. How about I'll let you go first. Take the honors.
Game ball, let's see. There's so many people that deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So many. But I'm going to go with I really loved what Mike Boone did this game.
Damn you. I was going to pick Mike Boone. That's a good choice, man.
Because for all he knew, he was going to be standing on the sideline for most of this game.
Right?
And when he got in there, not only did he punch in 2 touchdowns late in the game to just completely put the game out of reach, but he actually averaged more yardage per carry than any other Vikings running back. And it really makes you wonder just how deep this Vikings running back stable is and how, if they do have to move forward without Dalvin Cook, which right now we don't know. Mike Zimmer says they're taking it day to day. Adam Schefter saying he'd be surprised to see Cook play the rest of the regular season. Who knows what's going to happen there? And you got Madison with his ankle, we could be looking at Mike Boone starting running back against the Green Bay Packers on Monday and even against the Chicago Bears next week.
Yeah, I was just listening to, I was putting together a desk tonight before we started the show, the little computer entertainment center type deal. And I was listening to Chris Sims, and they were, talking about the upcoming games, and they talked about fantasy. Said Mike Boone is probably a sleeper, waiver pickup for this next week or two, because you got to think they all have a different skill set, but we're still going to do the zone running. He looked pretty good, and don't sleep on the Chargers defense, man. They're a good unit. I think, honestly, I think they're better than the Packers defensively. I think their D-line might be a little better, but we'll see. He may carry
that
the load.
Young Packers secondary is good, though.
Yeah, they're good. This Packer defense is much improved from what we know from before. I don't know. I'm hoping that at least one of the two, but I'd like both of them to be back. But I'd like Madison to be back, or Cook, or both. I don't want to give it all to Mike Boone. It's not that I don't think he could handle it. I would just like to see him in a little limited fashion and stints.
But neither of us want to see one of them rush back before they're ready. That's the main thing.
True.
Take your time. If it takes a couple extra weeks to be extra good to go for the playoffs, do it. Right now, the Vikings still haven't clinched a playoff spot. They're on the inside of the bracket right now, and they control their own destiny as far as a playoff spot. But they still do have to win some games to get in, so we'll have to wait and see how that all shakes out.
So I looked at Real Purple and Gold. I'm scrolling on Facebook right now, and they said they posted pictures, so I will try to share these here shortly. I'm going to give my game ball, even though he got a Pro Bowl vote, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to give it to Danielle Hunter. I got to give it to Fadi for that touchdown, man. That's so cool. And I shot him a message on social media, even though he's a superstar and an athlete and all that. Like, that's really cool. He scored a touchdown. He reposted it like 10 times. I mean, when a D lineman scores, it was the equivalent this year as a fan watching Linval score on the road in Philly last year. It was so much fun, and it was led by Danielle Hunter, so it was a close second. But yeah, Fadi Odenigbo, yeah, that was a great scoop up, and way to take it to the house, man. A big man scoring is always fun.
Yeah, we were talking about depth at running back. Depth at on the defensive line has just been amazing, too. Jaleel Johnson's done a good job stepping in. There's just plenty of guys that can plug in wherever. And the fact Minnesota has these interesting strategies of taking out a defensive tackle and putting in a defensive end on the interior of the defensive line in pass rush situations and things like that. That's a reason why the Vikings get so much pressure. And it's creative schemes like this that Mike Zimmer brought to Minnesota, because before this, I hate to say the word vanilla, but that Vikings defense was pretty darn vanilla.
Yeah. There's some improvement to be good. It just shows you how the league changes, players change, schemes change, all that stuff every year, because overall as a unit the last couple of years, we've been very, very good. It's shown on third down, overall, points allowed, all that fun stuff. But I feel like the D-line has made strides this year. The depth is there. The linebackers are great. We have the best linebacker in football, according to Pro Football Focus. But that secondary is not what it used to be. We've talked about it game in and game out. I think that's the biggest weakness on the team. But overall, we're talking about
It's weird to think that that's a weakness, though, because we have 3 first-round draft picks there, a second-round draft pick, and several other players that have just flashed at times. And it's curious why this unit is struggling so bad. And after this season, it's going to be thinned out even more. One of those first-round picks and one of those second-round picks is going to be gone, most likely. So,
right,
it's going to be scary.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about it now, but we don't have to. We can save it for off-season talks, because we're gonna have a lot of time, depending on how far the Vikings go in the playoffs. But there's going to be a superstar. I'm probably going to guess 2 that we've had on the team, or at least a familiar name. They're not going to be on the team next year, because the cap's just not our friend. And it's not to say that we haven't done a great job with the cap up to this point. It's just you can't keep all those names every single year all the time. And I think it's going to be good. You go in the first round, you take a corner, you take a guard, whatever you want. It's going to save you money, and it's just how the game works. So we'll see. This is a good point. How about Brian O'Neill not giving up a sack against Joey Bosa? It's a good point. It's a very good point.
Brian O'Neill has been very good this season.
Yeah, he has.
He's another one that probably could have been argued when the Pro Bowl selections were announced that he could have been among those players. But, of course, offensive linemen don't get a lot of love. He doesn't play for a high-profile team. All that kind of stuff. It's just there are those players who are going to get habitually voted in, and Brian O'Neill just isn't quite one of them.
So, Nate, I'm going to share some of your stuff real quick because he was at the game, so we can go through. Let's go here, and let's go on over to your profile pictures. I'm sorry, the pictures you posted are on a wall. So the unique thing about this is like a 35,000 seat stadium, so it's not what we normally see. So you're very, very close to the action.
Yeah, when I was looking at the pictures from that game, and it's weird not to see like an upper bowl.
I hate to say it because it's kind of cliche, but you hear Colin Cowherd talking about it. LA's not known for, look how close you are, man. That's so cool. That's so awesome. But LA's not necessarily known for their sports there. So you got to think about they're casual fans. I know there are diehards there. Well, there's diehards in every city. But my point to be made is look how many Viking fans are all the way in Los Angeles. Now, is that new stadium that's going to be built probably going to be better than the Cowboys or ours? Yeah, probably. It's probably going to be better than the one in Atlanta too. But I like this kind of thing right here. Now, of course, we won, so if we lost, it would be bad. Like last year, we lost to the Rams there. But I think it's cool. We'll talk about this. When the Vikings played at TCF for 2 years, you think back, like, hey, remember when the Chargers and the Rams played in that soccer stadium? I think that's a cool thing, is like an interim kind of thing to do, especially for fans. Look how close Nate was to the field. So thank you for sharing those pictures.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
I don't know who to give a donkey to. I was going to give my game ball to Melvin Gordon, but he fumbled it on the way here. So, sorry. That's right. Oh, man. Hey, that's a good thing that Los Angeles didn't end up signing him and give into that holdout, because he's been very underwhelming this year.
It's weird because when you look at the stats from this game and when you walk away with a full impression, this was a game that the Vikings didn't really see any amazingly standout players. The stats are pretty evenly distributed. A lot of players caught footballs, ran the ball well. A lot of players from the defense did very well. There isn't really that one player that sticks out and you're like, okay, this just didn't work. You could say I can give the donkey to Kirk Cousins for throwing that interception on the screen that probably shouldn't have been thrown whatsoever, and for fumbling the ball once. But then for the rest of the game, he had a very efficient contest. So trying to figure out who the donkey from this game should be, it's a real challenge.
It is. I wanted to pick on Mike Hughes, but he came up with a pick later, and he kind of redeemed himself.
He did.
You could.
So yeah. I guess I'll go with my little
an extra point because he had 4 field goals and he won Defensive Player of the Week.
Special teams player of the week for the NFC right there. I don't know. I guess I'll take Cousins for that interception and the fumble, but otherwise, that's nitpicking real bad.
I can't find one this week, and I'm sorry, I usually do. But when the team forces 7 turnovers, we're just getting into semantics here. So 39.
He could do Rhodes again for leaving the game limping off and doing his thing there, but
here's another good one too. Eric Wilson with another punt blocked. I forgot about that because there were so many good plays in this game. This is almost equivalent to like how many times did we sack Matt Stafford last year? 10 times in a game?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. This is better. This is one of the best games I've ever watched as a fan. That was really cool. Yeah, I don't really have a donkey, so we can run through some of the highlights here. You already mentioned Cousins, 19-25, touchdown and a pick. No sacks given up against 2 very good rushers, so shout out to the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Breather mentioned that. Rushing was good. Mike Boone led the day, 13 carries, 56 yards, not 1, but 2 touchdowns. So he got his first 2 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah, this is the first game where Mike Boone has ever carried the ball more than 5 times in a game. And he sure ran with that opportunity and did everything he could to show that they can put faith in him, especially on the goal line and in that red zone.
He was running angry like Madison does. I remember watching one of them. He looked like Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, he averaged 4.3 as well. So shout out to him. Dalvin Cook, 9 for 27. He did have a shoulder injury at the end of the game. He didn't come back in. He wasn't taken out and taken into the back, just evaluated the little blue tent. He was on the sideline chilling. He was smiling. I'm hoping that he's all right. We'll see. As we said, it's Wednesday now. They don't play till Monday, so there hasn't been anything said. Mike Zimmer's not going to tell you the status of that guy. But this is an interesting stat, and I'm looking at it now. So besides Boone and Cook, we had Abdullah, Cousins, Johnson, Ham, Diggs, Thielen, and Sean Mannion with the kneel downs, I guess. There's a lot of rushers in this game. There were 37 attempts. We'll take that down to 34 with Mannion take him out. 34 rushing attempts. That's pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of that was the Vikings just controlling the clock at the end of the game, which understandable. When the game's kind of out of reach there's no real point in taking risks that don't have to happen. But like Firebreather says, there were some really exciting moments from this game. Diggs seems to find himself on routes open at least once a game for a nice deep, at least intermediate to deep pass. And this week it happened yet again. And it was kind of nice that Diggs kind of stepped up in a little bit and the rest of the team got distributed the ball to pretty well because Thielen got to kind of get eased back into the game. He didn't have to put too much pressure on himself. He didn't take a lot of hits. For me, I think this is exactly what Thielen needed as far as his return. Sure, it would have been awesome to see him come back and catch 12 balls for 150 yards and some scores. But I think that taking it slow, letting him get back into the swing of things and just not having to be relied on so much was the right thing.
What's up, Scott? Of course you're driving. Of course you are. No, thanks for joining in, man. Speaking of receiving, that was a good segue there from Firebreather. Diggs led the way, 4 out of 6, 76 yards. Man, for as crappy as Xavier Rhodes has played and how much he's getting paid, on the opposite end, I didn't know why they extended Rudolph at this season, but he's been coming in clutch. He's not going to jump off the board stat-wise, but he's made some good plays down the stretch in multiple games this year. 3 for 3 for 48 yards, long of 22. Thielen was 3 for 3 as well for 27. BC Johnson, Dalvin Cook, CJ Ham, Irv Smith Jr., and Abdullah. Abdullah didn't catch anything. Irv Smith Jr. was 2 of 3, and he caught a touchdown. So that was
one thing I thought was really interesting from this game was once Dalvin Cook left the game with his injury, the Minnesota Vikings did not pass to a running back for the rest of the game.
They don't want to. They had the turnover, the battle won. They didn't want to risk that. I get it.
I just thought that was kind of amusing because I'm kind of curious to see Boone a little bit in that receiving game, and that pass is a big part of their offense. They use that to collapse that defense and allow Diggs to get deep every once in a while on those deeper intermediate routes. And I'm curious whether or not Boone is going to get the same kind of respect in that play calling situation as Cook would. And we may get to find that out against Green Bay. Who knows?
Yeah. There was 6 fumbles. Harrison Smith.
That's a lot of fumbles.
Oh, God. Smith, Waynes, Odenabo, Hunter all picked one up. Kirk Cousins picked up 2. There were some weird botched snaps. They didn't lose any of those 6, which is good.
That's something that does need to be addressed. I've seen that a couple times already this season. Actually, more than a few times. We'll say a few.
Mm-hmm.
Screw it. Let's upgrade it to several times this season. We've seen that miscommunication on the handoff, and that is something that just can't happen. Bradbury and Cousins got to get that down.
Yeah, it's a good point, Fire Breather. Second straight season of having 1,000 receiving yards. Still 2 games left. Yeah, he's stepped up this year.
He did make it over? I wasn't sure, to be honest. Is he at over 1,000 now?
Yeah, I'm trusting Fire Breather on that set. He was close before the game, so I believe that. The thing that's weird, he catches a lot of balls, but Adam Thielen still has more touchdowns than he does this year. And he hasn't played for like half the season, which is crazy. It's crazy to think about. But yes, Diggs has stepped up in the absence of
Well, Tiffany, you definitely picked the right Vikings game to watch.
Well, glad to have you on board. All right. There's a lot of defensive stats here. I'm not going to read every player, but there were 5 passes defended, 5 quarterback hits. There was a defensive touchdown, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. And, of course, the biggest Pro Bowl snub of the entire NFL, Eric Kendricks led the way. 7 total tackles, 5 by himself. The man's a machine. He's just,
I still can't believe that NFL teams have the ability to put Pro Bowl escalators in players' contracts. Stupid.
They were talking about it in the chat earlier, and we had talked with Fire Breather, and somebody mentioned it. It's stupid. It's all fan votes. It just tells you how much people don't pay attention.
Because let's be honest, Kirk Cousins is having a better year than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's not even debatable. When you run down the list of each player's accomplishments this season, Kirk Cousins is having a much, much better season. Right. I've also seen arguments that C.J. Ham should be in the Pro Bowl, but fullbacks aren't going to get any love. That's not going to happen. The offensive linemen are going to come from big market teams that get a lot of votes.
I'll tell you what really showed like the bias and popularity and just name recognition. Baltimore has 12 players. I couldn't name more than 4 people on the Baltimore Ravens. They're the best team in football right now. Lamar Jackson is hot. He's probably going to win the MVP. People just vote for name recognition and what's going on that's hot right now. It's a fan thing, It's cool that the fans get a say in something, but Eric Kendrick should absolutely be on the list.
How many Bengals made the Pro Bowl? Is there any?
I mean, so.
Maybe the running back.
We'll check that. We'll
because I got to admit that team is lacking some talent in a lot of places.
Yeah, they're going to get the number 1 pick. Joe Burrow to the old Bengals there. That's a terrible. Oh God, that's awful.
Then the Vikings can bring in Andy to back up.
Hey, I'm down with it. Bring the Red Rifle in as a backup. Let's do it.
Honestly, between Simeon and the other guys, I don't know. I'm just hoping that Cousins never has anything happen.
Oh God, nope. We're just not going to talk about that. Interceptions. Anthony Harris had 1. Harrison Smith and Mike Hughes. Phillip Rivers is awful this year, just awful. And I get it. He's not the total problem there. Gordon's giving the ball away a bunch too. God, man, I would be pissed if I was a Chargers fan. 5-9 after this game. But thank you for the free turnovers there.
I really don't understand how people can still say that Phillip Rivers is if not a fringe Hall of Fame player. Like, oh yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. No, he's not. Phillip Rivers is not going to make the Hall of Fame. He'll make the Chargers Ring of Honor. Sure.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame? No. Sorry. Just way too inconsistent. Even as a fantasy football owner, you can't trust him. You can't do it. Heck, I'm not even 100% sure Eli Manning's going to make it in. He's got name recognition and Super Bowl trophies.
He'll. I think he'll be in for sure. I'm with you, man. I want to say that Phillip, because he had a really long career, but he didn't even make a Super Bowl to lose one.
No.
It doesn't have any marquee wins. It's hard to argue for that. Here's my favorite stat of the game. Ask me how many punt return yards and how many punt returns we had.
16,000. Oh, I was wrong.
Yardage because we kept turning the ball over right back out, which is great. Dan Bailey was 4 for 4 on field goals, 3 of 4 on extra points, and Colquitt punted great. 51.5 average. He only punted
and he
twice.
held like a champion. Good job.
Yeah, that's just.
I always love after the Vikings have like Dan Bailey when he gets named Special Teams Player of the Week. You always go and click on it on the Vikings Instagram, and Colquitt is always on there saying, "You're welcome." I'm loving it.
He knows that was a problem for us too.
Oh, without a doubt.
So we talked about it a little bit for the Pro Bowls. Three Vikings were named to the Pro Bowl this year. We already mentioned Eric Kendricks did not make it, which is the biggest snub in my opinion.
It's unbelievable. I predicted four. I predicted the three that got in. I nailed those, but I was about 80 to 90% sure Eric Kendricks would make it, and the fact that he didn't still kind of blows my mind.
Let's talk about that too, because ESPN released an article about it today for Pro Bowl snubs, and I wanted to read what the ESPN NFL writers staff, because this wasn't getting, I didn't get to give credit to a specific person because they didn't give a specific person for this article, but it says Minnesota's defense is enjoying yet another outstanding season under Mike Zimmer, but arguably its most impactful player missed the cut. Kendricks is 15th in the league in tackles. He's made noise as both a pass rusher. His 9th pass rush wins are 13th most among off-ball linebackers. And in coverage, his 12 passes defended leads the position. He's also racked up a pair of forced fumbles, 4.5 tackles for loss, while he plays 97% of Minnesota's defensive snaps. What?
Pro Football Focus is number one rated linebacker. He's number one rated in several different aspects of the game. He should be upset that he was ignored for this. I know that a lot of players will shrug it off. A lot of fans shrug it off. But in the locker room, it does mean something. These are voted on by fans, players, coaches. This is a lack of respect. It really is.
I love that SpongeBob typing there. It's my favorite of all time. Another arguable snub, we talked about it here. Adam mentioned it. Kirk Cousins. It says, this is from Jeremy Fowler. He's a national NFL writer. Kirk Cousins is one of the league's most efficient quarterbacks, ranking second in the NFC in passer rating and completion percentage. He should have been in over Aaron Rodgers, whose numbers were inferior in several areas. Yeah, this is without a doubt the best season Cousins has ever played. It's not going to be the most yards. It's probably not going to be the most touchdowns of his careers. But as far as efficiency, not turning the ball over, I mean, how many throws did he make without an interception? It was like over 100. It was like 3 or 4 weeks. He went
on the season. He has 5 picks?
Yeah, I think total he's got 5. And I mean,
James Winston has like 4 or 5 times that.
Yeah. Yeah, Fire Breather mentioned that. He's got 24 interceptions. I think Cousins has 24 touchdowns. This guy's – and that's a fun fact there, Fire Breather. That's not counting the fumbles that guy's lost. You thought Cousins was bad at fumbling? Go look at Jameis Winston, man. You want to talk about Jekyll and Hyde.
But you can skew stats, too. You can look at Jameis Winston's total yardage, and he is head and shoulders above any other quarterback in passing yards this season.
Here you go, Fire Breather. If we are guaranteed to make the playoffs before the Bears game, would you rest the starters against the Bears? No. I want to host a playoff game in Minnesota. We are so much better at home. You play them and you hope somehow in a miracle week 17 just upset that the Lions beat the Packers and then we win the North and we host a playoff game. Absolutely not.
Do the Packers play before the Vikings?
I don't know what time they play.
Because my answer to that question will depend entirely on that.
Week 17 is all Sunday games too. Like I don't know if they play tomorrow night. I know there's 3 games on Saturday. The last Monday night football game is coming up this coming Monday. Obviously, it's us, but everybody in week 17 plays on Sunday. So that's a good question. Yeah, Michael knows. Oh yeah, she says. Tiffany says her dad is a Green Bay fan. What? That's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Not everybody can be perfect, and that's okay. So the Packers-Lions play at 1, and the Vikings and Bears play at 1. So no, you can't sit them. Oh, Boone did used to be a wide receiver. Yeah, so I know that he caught some nice passes in the preseason, but I hadn't seen a lot of that used in the regular season. So I guess we can be a little bit more confident that he can be a part of that screen swing pass game.
Sorry, I want to get into the Mike Boone conversation, but this is interesting. It's going to take, it'd take a lot of help to get the Vikings to be the 2 seed.
Yeah, Packers got to lose out, Vikings got to win out, and then there's got to be a tie between the Cardinals and the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, something like that. Either a tie or loss there, and then the Niners too. I don't know how the Niners are going to swing, and I don't know how that's going to happen to where they could be a 5th seed going to Dallas. They're going to destroy the Cowboys, but
yeah, it's highly improbable now. Right now, I think what Vikings fans need to root for is just to win their own game, clinch a playoff spot, and then go with it from there. Of course, that home field advantage would be massive, and it would be great to have that crowd at US Bank Stadium there to will on the Vikings. But right now, that seems like something that is pretty unlikely.
Talking about Jameis Winston earlier, this is nuts. 12 fumbles a season alone is 50 in his career, I think. Yeah. NFL Any Given Sunday. So here, Fire Breather, this is what I was talking about earlier. So I hate to, it sounds really unprofessional, but we're not a professional podcast. So when I start getting paid, I'll have references of everything. But on a podcast that I listened to within the last 3 weeks, they talked about Minnesota and their record at home, which is just phenomenal. It's up there with the Patriots and the Seahawks as far as how good they are in US Bank versus when they play outside. And this is a key reason as to why you want to win and host a playoff game, because we're almost guaranteed to win at home because we're so good there and the atmosphere is so much different. When they play outside, which is where they would play if they go to Green Bay, and this could change because right now we would go to New Orleans, which they're red hot. But if they have to play outside against the Packers, we're like 18-1 in our last however many outside games. Team's just not good outside. Minus, I think.
Yeah, I'd rather have Minnesota play in the Dome in New Orleans than outside in Green Bay.
I think the only one they've won outside recently that I can remember is in New York this year. Other than that, I don't know. I'm trying to think if it was. I have to remember. I have to go back and listen again. And I'll get you guys that next week or the week after. But we're not nearly as good on the road as we are at home. And then you got to think Green Bay in what will it be? The end of December or January? Ugh. I'm sorry, man. I know if old football fans and historians will be like, that's the way it's supposed to be played. Screw that, man. I want everybody to be in a dome because I want to watch 1,000,000 touchdowns. All right.
Now, I would be really interested to watch Green Bay play against the 49ers in a nice, sloppy outdoors game because that's going to be a good contest. Yeah.
It'd be a lot different than last because it depends on if San Fran had to travel there because they beat the crap out of Green Bay earlier this year. It wasn't even close. But if they had to go up there, I'm sure it would be a lot different. But speaking of playoff seeding right now, we are the 6th, and we would play New Orleans. That would be fun. You get to see some former Vikings in Saints uniforms. Teddy Bridgewater, Latavius Murray's there having a great year. I think Zach Lyon is still there. That would be a rough game to watch because the Saints are really good. But that'd be interesting. We wouldn't count the Vikings out completely. But that's how it shakes out so far. Monday night is going to be huge. I'm going to chew off all my fingernails, and it's going to be I'm going to lose some sleep that night for sure, no matter what. But it's going to be interesting, man. I like the Vikings' chances at home. I guess the X factor this week is we'll see how healthy Cook and Madison are.
Absolutely.
No, we don't want him to talk about it. Mm-mm.
No, I'm fine if the media overlooks the Vikings on the way.
Last year, you remember when we came off the 13-3 NFC Championship season, and then we got Kirk Cousins like, oh, they're going to the Super Bowl. They were a couple analyst picks, and we did terrible. And I know somebody predicted us to go like 6-10 this year, and that's not working out well for them at all.
It's funny. On the way back from Minneapolis, I was listening to ESPN radio, and it was Field Yates and them that crew that were talking about teams that they wouldn't be surprised to see win the Super Bowl this year. And they said it's wide open. There's like 7 teams that if they won the Super Bowl, you wouldn't be shocked one bit. And they named all these teams. They named Green Bay and Baltimore and all these squads. They didn't mention Minnesota once, which I get that Minnesota isn't the trendy pick for the Super Bowl anymore. But they've shown that they can be a really good team when they need to be. They can step up and they can beat teams. Sure, they haven't had a big signature win against a really tough team. And other people will point out that loss to the Chiefs, that, yeah, the Vikings should have gone in and won that game. And they'll point out that, the Vikings have had a cupcake schedule. Well, what can you do about that? You can't beg people to change your schedule. So you play what's put in front of you. And the Vikings, I'd love to see them beat a really good team. And you know what? They can do that on Monday night. They can start to show that, hey, we can beat these really good teams. If Minnesota comes out flat against Green Bay, you are going to see them tumble hard on all power rankings. You're going to see analysts lose a lot of respect for this team, with or without Madison or Cook. This team needs to get this win on Monday, not just for playoff positioning, but for respect.
You know, I don't want to say this is a bold take or a statement, but I do believe that Rodgers is not as good as he used to be. He's still very good. Not like I'll just put the team on my back like Russell Wilson every week as he used to be. He's got a good number one. Devontae Adams is really good. But I think the key for this game is making sure Aaron Jones doesn't do anything, because he's been great all year. He's had a couple of stints where he'd fumble or didn't have a good game, but the dude's got 13 touchdowns. I think he's gonna have a 1,000-yard season. They base that offense around him, because after Adams and after Jones, that team is a bunch of scrubs. I mean, Jimmy Graham, he's like a dinosaur. He's not good. He's
a shell of the player he used to be. And he never could block. He was never a blocker. He was a receiver. And now that he's not the receiver he used to be, they have to really rotate out those tight ends and use different spots. And it's odd to watch a Green Bay team with so little talent on offense outside of their 2-3 stars,
Yeah, you've got Valdez-Scantling, and I think Lazard was a undrafted free agent. I think he was called up from the practice squad. And that should tell you, I know those guys' names because Aaron Rodgers threw touchdowns to them. So he made really well. But these guys, they weren't going to make rosters anywhere else. They're out there because Devontae Adams was injured for 4 games this year. And you needed somebody out there on the field. You can't just not play 11 guys on 11. So I think the key
Detroit's a mess.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We can talk about that for a second, too. Matt Patricia, I think he's going to, on what they have Black Monday after the season's over. Yeah, I think he's gone.
They've already committed to him a little bit, though. The team's ownership has said that they expect him to be around for next year, and they expect him to lead this team to the playoffs. And I'm a bit baffled, especially considering that there have already been rumors that the Ford family's looking to sell the team.
He's 9-21-1 or something like that since he's been there. He did beat the Patriots, which is cool.
I criticized that hire from the very beginning, and I didn't understand it.
Are ever good? None of them.
No,
they're not. They're specialists at their coordinator jobs, but you can't say.
No, Mike Zimmer's kind of in the same boat. He's a defensive coach. He knows his defense. He runs his defense, and that's why he has one defensive coordinator and then all these offensive specialists on his team to help him get everything figured out. He's not taking on all that responsibility that he knows that he can't handle.
Right.
Or doesn't want to handle, or think would be in better hands with someone else. He knows that he can step back and be like, okay, guys, you take care of this. They installed blocking schemes. They installed new plays. This season has looked completely different offensively from the previous season. And the Vikings are so much better team because of it. And knowing your limitations as a head coach is just so important. Because if you put way too much on yourself and you don't delegate your duties, and that goes for any organization, whether you're running a gas station, a grocery store, a football team, or whatever. If you're not able to delegate those responsibilities and run the ship efficiently, you are just going to be in a heap of trouble.
I like Mike Zimmer a lot. I think that him hiring Gary Kubiak, like we said before the year, was the best decision he could make. That's a good fallback plan for the Vikings too. If Mike Zimmer is, I'm going to curse here just for you guys that hate when I do that on here, but if he shits the bed, 2 seasons in a row, we go 5-11. Gary Kubiak's a good fallback plan if he wanted to step up there, but it'll be.
I don't think he'll poop the Serta.
That's good. Trying to think, there's going to be a lot of coaching openings. I think Pat Shurmur's done. Could be interesting to see if he wanted to come back around. But Kevin Stefanski's done a great job filling in, so I don't think he would come back here.
Kevin Stefanski's going to be looked at as a potential head coach.
Definitely
in a lot of teams.
I mean, they hired DiFilippo, and he wasn't even an offensive coordinator for, 10 games?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Hey, credit to him. He won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia, but he was a quarterback's coach, But there's going to be a lot of moving parts. We can talk about all that later. That's down the road. But the good thing is the Vikings are 10-4, and they could finish this season 12-4 if they put a good 2-game stretch together. And it's good that we have a pretty good chance, that we're going to make the playoffs. I don't remember who the Rams were playing the 49ers this weekend. So I think that the 49ers will take care of business. So even if we, for some reason, fall short, I think we'll get some help elsewhere. But the Vikings are very much in control of where they go. And I would not be surprised right now, even with 2 games left, to see them not only get in the playoffs, but they might not even be the 6th seed. We'll see.
The Rams are the only team really knocking on the door anymore because the Bears were eliminated, right?
Yep, they sure were.
Okay, so now at our heels, the only thing the Vikings fans really need to worry about is those Rams. And the Rams have been looking pretty good. They've got some offensive talent. They're starting to use their running backs a little bit better.
They were looking good until Dallas beat the crap out of them last week. It's crazy, man. They might not make the playoffs, and they were in the Super Bowl last year. And they added who? Jalen Ramsey? I mean, the NFL.
They've still got that salary cap looming over them a couple years down the road.
Yeah, paying Goff looks really, really dumb right now for the Rams.
Whew.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
You guys, we all freaked out when they paid Kirk Cousins that money. He's not. Imagine what they're going to pay Dak Prescott down in Dallas here soon.
For me, it was that fully guaranteed money. I had never seen a contract like that in my life, so that was what scared me about the Cousins deal. Is that even if he gets hurt and he's on the sideline, you're paying him.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was something that I didn't like a whole lot. I'd be interested to see if Cousins does get an extension, what that's going to look like for Minnesota. Because I don't think they're going to go the fully guaranteed route again. So they'll have to pay a little bit extra money and have less guarantee, but they could lessen the salary cap by adding to the guarantee again. And Cousins hasn't been one to really make people think that he's any sort of an injury risk. He hasn't missed a football game in years. So I don't know. It's just a strange situation that's coming up for Minnesota on that salary cap front.
Man, we got a lot of stuff. It's going to be an interesting offseason.
Oh, for sure. And Cook's going to want to get paid too.
That's going to be the biggest X factor for me because when the guy's on, he is net. I don't think there's anybody better than him, minus Christian McCaffrey. But this is, and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. I'm going to join the Adam Carlson train from last year. This is the first season where we've seen him play a full season, and even then he's been banged up. So what do you do there? I'm glad I don't make these decisions because I would probably make the wrong one.
Yeah, he probably won't play on Monday. I'm not expecting Dalvin Cook to be on the field on Monday, which will mean this will be another season that we don't see Dalvin Cook make it all the way through.
I hope not. I hope he's there, even if it's just a small capacity. We can use him. We definitely need Madison back. If not Cook, we need Madison back. Madison is that was such a good pickup.
I love watching Madison play, and I didn't realize that he had banged up his ankle. So when he was a scratch for the game and he showed up on the injury report, I was kind of confused. But yeah, having one of those two available would be big because it's not that I don't trust Boone. So far, he's shown that he can do what he needs to do in situations. I'm not a massive fan of Abdullah.
No.
But if he can hold on to the football, he can be a little bit wily out of the backfield. So maybe. Still, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with one of those two guys back.
Well, the good thing is we got Adam Thielen back. And like you said earlier, he got eased back into the game. So barring any setbacks, he should be able to have a bigger role.
Then you got BC and you've got Irv Smith and you've got these other really good role players stepping in and doing things when they aren't really being asked to do a whole lot else. I still want to praise Treadwell for coming in and doing blocking too, because each of these players have what they need to be done in order to win football games, and they're doing it quietly behind the scenes. And yeah, it's not going to show up in a stat sheet. You're not going to see, Danielle Hunter's big block on that return. No, you're not going to see that in there. But those are high effort plays. Oh no, I as soon as I started watching tape on Madison, I started falling in love.
The effort for that guy, man. The effort is always there. He's out there to hurt people, and I love it. I'm with you, Rod. I think that they should shut down Jones at every cost, and I think they should double team Devontae Adams. I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good. That's the thing, though. Is Mike Zimmer going to stray away from the typical scheme that he likes? I would double team Devontae Adams. He's a monster. And as we know, Xavier Rhodes is not having the best year that he could possibly have.
But the big question is so far teams have found a lot of success picking on Mike Hughes. So is it going to be the Vikings needing to kind of always have help on wherever Hughes is, or are they going to try to give support to these star players, like have doubles on Devontae Adams or safety up top, help below? It's going to be really tough because Aaron Rodgers might be having a down year, but he is still a darn good quarterback. He can pick apart defenses when he has throws. They can run the ball very well, and the Vikings are kind of hit or miss sometimes in their run support. Lately, we have seen the Vikings patrol that line of scrimmage very well, limit gains, hunt for the football, and yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. But Green Bay, and I kind of want you, I want to bring this up before the game even happens so you guys can watch it. The rule in the NFL is once your hands get outside the numbers or inside the jersey, they'll call holding. Now, the Packers have a really cool, I don't know if it's cool, but what they do is they grab the sides of the jerseys and they twist so that the sides of their hands aren't ever really showing. It's not that they're holding on every play. It looks like they're holding, and they are able to get a grip on people, but it's not the kind of hold that's going to be called by referees. So this kind of blocking, I don't know why more teams aren't coaching it and watching it, but that is how they're getting away with these plays that it's immobilizing defenders. And it looks like a hold, but flags aren't getting thrown, and it's all because of that hand placement and because they keep their feet moving. And you're going to be watching the Packers-Vikings game on Monday, and you are going to be just confused as to why these flags aren't getting thrown. And it's because they can't visually confirm that there's a hold, even though it's there.
Well, I know what I'm going to be looking for now.
The master at it, David Bakhtiari. He's
so good.
He's got that technique down to such a science, and he's going to make it so difficult for Everson Griffin. I don't want to say that Everson Griffin's going to get blanked this game because he's got that high motor and such a talent, and he's got a skill set, but it's going to be very tough for him to get anywhere near Aaron Rodgers.
He's always had a tough out, even though he does have a lot of sacks against Aaron Rodgers. He's always had a tough out against Bakhtiari. Always.
The Vikings tend to get most pressure against Aaron Rodgers through their blitzing, whether it's a safety blitz or a linebacker blitz. That's why a lot of times you'll see like Mackenzie Alexander, when he shoots through the gap and he'll get a lot of pressure that way. Or Anthony Barr will swing in from the side, or they'll bring Harrison Smith down. Those kind of plays are where they can find a little bit of success against that Packers offense, which is so well coached, especially on that offensive line. it's just amazing to watch.
It's going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch. Man, it's going to be a tough one. This is a border battle. It's the NFC North title, so glad to see that we're still in it, and it's not the woe is me. Look at all the stumbles we've had this year. The Vikings have been very, very good this year. So
They have.
Yeah, I'm excited for this game Monday.
It's going to be a good one. And Minnesota needs to win this if they want to have a chance of moving up those playoff brackets, and if they want to lock down a spot in the playoffs. I think that before we started the season, I think we gave our predictions as far as how many wins we thought the Vikings would have. I said 9, probably 10. I think you said 10, right?
I think I picked 11-5, 10-6. Yeah. We highlighted a couple of the games we thought we would lose. Seattle was one of them. Kansas City up there.
Seattle, Kansas City. I had Dallas on mine.
Yeah. A lot of us didn't think we were going to go into Dallas and win, but hey, we're in the thick of it, man. At worst,
one Green Bay, one Chicago loss.
At worst, this team will be 10-6, which is still a good season, but I think we'll get at least one, if not two more wins. So
it looks like Minnesota will probably be playing in a wild card game. They'll probably be on the road. It will take the Vikings one extra win. They won't get that comfort at US Bank Stadium. But as we've all seen, the Vikings are a wily team. They can hit the road and they can have good performances. And Kirk Cousins is playing good football. If they can get their running backs back healthy, the defense can stay tight, get some turnovers, play smart football, get those stops before the too much yards after the catch or stopping long runs. It's going to be tough to beat Minnesota. A lot of people are talking about how nobody wants to face the Buffalo Bills, but the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think are a team that any team in the playoff wants to meet up with. I think they're all licking the chop that whoever comes out of the NFC East.
God, I was just going to say that too while you were talking. I forgot for half a second. I'm glad you brought that up. If we become a 12-4 6 seed, you will hear me bitch and gripe and complain about the seeding so much. And the NFL's already shot it down. They're like, we're not changing that. We're not going to change the format in which we do it right now, which is just asinine and stupid. It is just stupid. But that's my opinion on it. I could be wrong. We all have our entitlement to our opinions, but let the Vikings go 12-4 and be the 6th seed. Or let's say San Francisco fumbles and they're 12-4. There's no reason they should be going to Dallas. We should be going to wherever. If we ended up playing Dallas in some weird way, we shouldn't be the visiting team. That's trash. They're going to be 8-8 hosting a playoff game. That's crap. That's I've said that already. And I'm sure I'll say it again after week 17. So stay tuned.
I got a question in the chat here about the referee assignment for week 16. And I'm checking on that right now because I'm not exactly sure. Looks like Bill Vinovich's crew will be handling that game on Monday night.
I don't know much about that particular referee or his crew.
It's not Clete Blakeman, so thumbs up there. Stupid Clete Blakeman. But yeah, that's all I really have for this week. I do want to remind the 2 other people who are in the Survival League that we are coming to what looks like is going to be a conclusion to the league here pretty soon. So get your picks in. One is my friend Clint. The other one is a listener who I'm really hoping can challenge Clint along the way and really have a good performance. I am going to start with my idea of throwing the game because I don't want to win. I don't. So this week you are going to see, I'm going to take a 50-50 game this week, and I am going to roll with Gardner Minshew. So I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
Woo! Who are they?
If I get eliminated, I get eliminated. It happens, you know. What can you do?
Where are they at, and who are they playing?
They are heading to Atlanta.
That'd be a good game. Atlanta is surging, according to some people. I wouldn't call it surging, but they did go into San Francisco and upset the crap out of the 49ers. So, yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a fun game. I I don't want to win this prize, and I'm hoping that I don't. So it's time for me to bow out of this competition. So Jacksonville is gonna be my pick against the Falcons. So I have to wait and see if I can properly throw this game.
Oh man, yeah. I forget what happened recently, but Adam was so nice to me in the chat and reminded me. Hey Smith, who did you pick? Was it the Texans? Who did they get beat by after beating the Patriots? They got beat by the Broncos, so that eliminated me. I made a valiant run this year.
Well, I did get a shipment in this weekend of one of the items that's going to be included in the prize package. So I'm starting to accumulate a bit of what is going to be included in there. And I'm really excited to send that out when I can. I know that some of the other guys have some ideas of stuff they're throwing into, so could be really fun. And honestly, I just have a good time doing this, talking about it each week, maybe talking a little bit of trash on the podcast every once in a while, because I'm always in it towards the end. And I had to throw it last year, and now I got to throw it again. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I tried. I put in a valiant effort. I wasn't going to win anyways, even if I did win it overall. So one of you guys has got to challenge Clint.
That's right.
Because Clint he's a jerk. I don't even know you, Clint. I just have to throw it because you win all the time. So, but yeah, I think that's it, man. You covered the Survival League, so we'll see. We'll give you updates on that whenever that's done. Mr. West is not here. I haven't heard from him throughout the show to give game balls and donkeys. Otherwise, we would have. But he does sell some cool stuff. If you go to the podcast page on Facebook, facebook.com/Purple People Podcast, Phantasm Digital is a site that he runs. You can get Purple People Podcast merch. I'm going to throw that into the little package that we send out for the winner of the Survival League of their choosing. And yeah, you can see all kinds of stuff. And it's not just podcast merch. He sells other stuff in there. He's a good photographer. You can check out his work there. So go check it out and support him on the show. That'd be great.
Yep, it's down to Zach Morris's trash, which is my friend Clint. And come on, you Spurs, who already made his pick for this week. So that person is ready to roll. I'm going to go and make my pick right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Minshew Mania.
Clicking on that right now and hitting that save button. And it is saved. Over on the Viking Age, I haven't been doing a ton of work over there. The season's kind of been getting to me a little bit, so I've been stepping away from work a little bit. Made a trip to Minneapolis to try to clear my head a little bit, but I'm back home now, and I'm hoping to get a little bit back into the rhythm. My pieces this week for the Chargers were a little later than usual on the Viking Age, but I still got both the MVPs and the best and worst out, which are my two favorite pieces of the week. Over on Undead Walking, we're talking about The Walking Dead on a regular basis. We have started a pretty cool tradition where each week now, each Wednesday, we're putting out an article of individuals outside of Walking Dead who would be great on The Walking Dead. We've done so far, Disney princesses was the first list we put out. Professional wrestlers was the second list. Today we put out Christmas movie characters who would survive on The Walking Dead. So it's a little bit silly and it's a little bit fun, but it's something that we wanted to try over on Undead Walking. So if you're interested in some of that, check it out. Of course, we've got Fear the Walking Dead, the new spin-off series that's coming, the movie series. So there's a ton of Walking Dead coming, and we'd love it if you would check us out, whether it's on the Undead Walking app, the website, or the Viking Age for the Viking stuff. It also has its own app. Check those out and support me and what I do. I'd appreciate it because I enjoy getting that nice fat paycheck every month to be able to pay my bills. And if you guys can help me out with that, I love it.
Go support Adam. He's a good guy and he does good quality work. And I steal a lot of information from the Viking Age, so I can support that. If you like Undead Walking, if you like The Walking Dead, hey man, this is his, as Austin Powers would say, this is his bag. So
true.
I just thought of something as we end the show.
Well, we got to talk about what Adder says in there too.
The more the merrier for the Discord chat.
The last couple of weeks I've had internet problems. I've been on the road and I haven't been able to join the Discord channel. And I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if any of the other guys have been able to hop in there and chat with some of the folks, because it can get a little bit interesting and fun in there. Actually, a little bit of a spoiler there. My next article is going to be NFL players who would survive on The Walking Dead. So,
Scott, you may have just given us a social media question. We might revive that segment from this show and do that every once in a while.
Because we've planned out the next couple articles that we're doing. We're rotating them among the three of us. So we each can do a top 10 list, once every 3 weeks. And that's not too much to take on at all whatsoever. So, so far I've done pro wrestlers. Next is going to be NFL players. And then who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll be video game characters or stuff like that. Who knows? I'm always open to suggestions for that too.
So I just thought of something as we end the show.
The channel name needs to be changed.
Yeah,
does it still say week 1 against Atlanta?
yeah, it does. The last time I logged in, that's what it said.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sorry, guys. I hate to say it because it ultimately comes down to effort and a little bit of laziness, but we got a lot of shit going on. We do. I can't remember to post a social media question every week. I'm running the StreamYard stuff now, so bear with us, man. We're not going to tell you like, oh, we're just not going to do it anymore, but just bear with us. We'll try to fix it. Thank you for reminding us, though. Like, I do appreciate that, Scott. I just thought of something. It's Wednesday now. A week from today is Christmas, and the game is Monday night. So if we do a show, it's going to have to be either right after, which won't happen for me because I have to work, or Tuesday night on Christmas Eve. And I'm not sure what yours or Mr. West's schedule is, but we can try, if you guys want, earlier in the day, Tuesday, to get a post-Packers show in before the holidays, if you want to do that. So I'll leave that on the table. But I do have a good social media question I'm going to put up here shortly. So
I would wager on next week's show being a late one. I'd say Thursday, Friday, because I don't think we're going to try to squeeze it in before the holidays because people will be visiting their families. And I'm sure Mr. West loves holidays. So he's already singing his Mariah Carey, Wham, whatever, Christmas songs are on the radio there. So yeah, I think that we'll try to skip the holidays a little bit and hang out a little bit afterwards. We will hopefully, I'll say hopefully because I'm going to try to remember to post a link to the Discord channel during the game. That's something I've got to remember to start doing because, I'm living out in the middle of the woods here, so I've got to stream games. So I'm probably going to be behind a lot of the folks on there. But I still like to hop in and enjoy. And it's nice to talk football with people, especially the people that I get to talk to every week. I consider a lot of you the people that hop in the live chat here on Discord. I've made friends with quite a few of you, and I really do enjoy our friendship, and I love talking football. So let's make this happen a little bit more often.
Adder, if you will send myself a personal message on Facebook on Sunday or Monday, or you can shoot it to the Purple People Podcast page. I'll check it. Remind us, and we'll get you that link to the Discord. We'd love to have you in there. I have a good question, and I'm going to get you guys' thoughts. I'm actually going to post it as soon as we're done with the show for the holidays, and we can talk about it on next week's show. But I'm with Adam. I would love to squeeze it in on Christmas Eve, but I am not leaving Long Island, and I'm not going to see family. I have 2 pooches that I have to take care of, and I have to work the day after Christmas. So we'll end the show with that. It is the week before Christmas. I can't believe 2019 has already came and gone. But 3 things. Number 1, I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful Christmas and holiday season. Be safe, number 1, most of all. Prepare for your drive, check your car, all that dad stuff that I have to say to you. Number 2, as always, go Vikings. I'm so excited for this game Monday. And that leads into number 3. Thank you guys. This has been a major year for us as far as upgrading the show a little bit, even though the format's still kind of the same. The way it's brought to you is definitely different. And you guys are up to the very end. So Even right now, you guys are still talking with us, like Rod, Scott, Adders in the chat. Thank you guys so much for everything that you've done, and we try to give back as much as we can. That's why we introduce stuff like the Survival League. So we really appreciate everybody that tunes in every week. We have a lot of faithful people that stick around, so we really appreciate that.
And we hope that those who care about you know enough to get you a nice purple and gold gift.
Oh man, I have a gigantic desk. So I'm sitting on my couch, and I made this put this desk together from IKEA, so I can't push it to do it in time. But I ordered something from China, and it on the outside of it, it said Randall, it said 93, and I was like super excited because the material is soft like a jersey. And then I looked at the back, and it says Pandal with a P. So I have a nice Pandal long sleeve. Like, the hell out of it because it's super comfortable. But I got that today. If anybody wants a John Pandal thing, you let me know. I'll cut you a deal.
I ordered a jersey, a Packers jersey for a friend of mine who wanted a Blake Martinez jersey because he couldn't find one anywhere. And it ended up being an R to P mistake. It's a Blake Martinez jersey. So yeah, the R to P seems to be a problem.
I couldn't believe that because it was great. You know, on the I was waiting on it forever. I literally thought about it like 2 days ago. I was like, I ordered something off of Facebook. I know when I paid for it, I paid PayPal to be smart. And I was like, you know what? This is going to take a minute to get here. And I thought about it. I was like, man, I wonder if I'm ever going to get that. Came today, got super excited. It says Randall on the outside of the packaging. And I was like, all right, cool. I hung it up on my door and I was like, oh, it's a P. Damn it. You guys know John Randall's my favorite player, and I don't have anything of his that fits me. So I might have to take that somewhere over around here and see if they can.
All I know is that I better start seeing that John Randall autograph I got for you that I told him personally about you being, you know, him being your favorite player when he was signing it. That photo's got to go on your wall somewhere.
Once I get this set up and I have this desk set around, I'm definitely going to do that because you and Kyle are the shit for giving me those gifts. He got me the mini helmet. He sent me, I guess he had it just laying around, and you got me a picture from it. I love it, man. Can't wait to get your guys' address and send you that stuff that I have.
There you go. Get some whiteout and turn that P into an R.
Oh, we're going to have to go see somebody to make that into something cool.
Yeah, you can get that relettered. That's no problem. You got to have some sort of store on there.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Scott, I hate you. Thank you for commenting. Still hate you. I tried to type out that word that I called you in here, and YouTube told me no. So we have to keep it PG in the podcast. That's what it means. So
yeah, thanks again for everyone who joined us in here. Once again, we love the interaction you guys give us on Facebook. We haven't been on our Twitter very much. Hopefully we can be a little bit more active over there. I think we still have our Facebook linked with our Twitter so that everything we put on Facebook goes on Twitter, but we don't really reply to it over there. So if you're going to get a hold of us, please do so on Facebook. We are looking at other ways of getting in contact with you guys, especially live during shows. So maybe we'll have a little bit of news on that in the future. As well as I do appreciate you guys supporting me and my work on Fansided, whether it's the Viking Age or Undead Walking, and just coming in here and BSing with us. It's always a pleasure. So let's get excited about Monday. I don't know if it's excited or nervous, but either way, it's going to be Vikings football, and I'm ready to watch it. On behalf of Mr. Smith, Mr. West, who isn't here, and everyone associated with the Purple Peel Podcast, stay classy, Minnesota.